Hey guys, it's Kaylee. Welcome to part 3 in my Stardew Treats series. If you aren't familiar with this, basically I spin a wheel with a bunch of characters from Stardew, and whoever I get, I have to make a baked good inspired by them. Let's go! I was concerned at first because I know that he's not a big fan of food. He mostly likes crystals and like monster stuff. But I'm a little witchy and wizardy myself, so I was like, I got this. Okay, so here we can see that the only food item that he really likes is the purple mushroom. For design, that helps me, but for flavor, that doesn't help me at all, because as far as I know, we don't have any purple mushrooms on this earth, and if we do, they're probably either not edible or not sweet, or they're just straight up not accessible to me. From my knowledge, lemons are pretty commonly used in spells, and I feel like having a lemon flavored dessert here would be a good place to start. In terms of the recipe, I have several different cookbooks in my closet that I've never opened, and I thought today would be a good time to look through them. These iced star cookies really caught my eye, but instead of cinnamon, we're going to be using lemon tea from a tea bag, and not all of them will be stars. So what do I know about the wizard? The only thing I really know about the wizard is a lot of people think that the wizard is Abigail's actual dad. I'm not super into Stardew Valley lore, so I'm not sure if this is a canon thing or not, but it is a pretty plausible theory considering that there are the only two people on the island with purple hair, besides Jazz, but she doesn't really mix into this. I do know that after reading some articles that you can find Abigail's birth certificate in the wizard's tower, which I've been in there and I guess I've just overlooked it, but that's crazy. There's got to be some sort of connection there. So for me, that begs the question, why isn't the wizard in Abigail's life? There's lots of different ideas I have, so I'm gonna go through them real quick. First thing, how long have Pierre and Caroline been together? Did she cheat on Pierre with the wizard? Were her and the wizard together, she got pregnant, and then he left when he figured it out? Did he leave because he felt like he was an outcast, felt like he couldn't take care of her? Does Pierre know that's not his daughter? Does he even care? I don't know, but Abigail obviously exhibits traits of somebody that would be his daughter, with the going to the grave sites, being into kind of more spookier, outlandish things. So on the Great British Bake Off, I have seen them use the inside of a tea bag to flavor things such as cookies. I've decided to try this myself, so instead of 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, I have done 1 teaspoon of lemon tea. The icing I ended up making that was in the recipe had lemon juice in it, so I expected there to be more lemon flavor in the icing than there was the cookie. Unfortunately, the tea did not give a lot of flavor at all, so I did get lemon from the icing, but not much lemon from the cookie. If you decide to do this for yourself, I would either try to grind it up or boil it in some water and see if you can't get the essence to come out more. Currently, I'm trying to mix this until it becomes a breadcrumb-like texture. Eventually, I will go in with my hands because the spatula was not doing much for me. I have never worked with a cookie dough as crumbly as this. It did actually remind me of the texture of a crumble. A crumble is usually sugar, butter, and flour. Sometimes it will have oats and nuts, and when you squeeze it in your hand like I am doing now, it becomes a thick glob, and then when you swish your fingers back and forth, it becomes a sandy-like texture. This reminds me, I played with kinetic sand a lot growing up when I was over at my friend's house, and every time we would play with it, we would always get hair and dirt and all kinds of nasty stuff in it, and it makes me wonder, if you did have kinetic sand growing up, how did you keep that stuff clean? I was also obsessed with slime at some point, as I'm sure a lot of people my age were, and I also got lots of nasty stuff in my slime to a point where I would probably eventually throw it away. So right here I'm rolling up my dough. Thankfully there were no hairs to be detected, and it took me a long time. This is where the purple mushroom comes in. If I thought it took a long time for me to roll out the dough, this took even longer. I made the stencil by using parchment paper and edible marker, which you will see in a sec I got all over my fingers. This stencil took me about 5 minutes to make, but the actual cutting out of each individual cookie took me like 35 minutes. It got to the point where I decided to stop doing mushrooms, and I did all kinds of different shapes. I wanted to get at least a dozen mushrooms, which I did end up doing. I also did some stars because the wizard kind of reminds me of stars. I don't know why. As you can see, I also have quite a bit of circle cookies. I'm not going to tell you what they are for just yet, but you will see soon. I put these cookies in the fridge for the entire time that my oven was preheating, which was about 10 minutes. Because sugar cookies have a very high butter content, you have to put them in the fridge or the freezer for like a flash freeze to allow the butter to solidify again before you put them in the oven. If you don't, the butter will ooze out everywhere and it'll be a gross mess. So now we're making the icing, which does have lemon juice, as I mentioned previously. Icing can be thick or thin, but the thick type of icing that ends up solidifying on top, like the ones for cookies, will have a very high ratio of powdered sugar to whatever liquid you're using. I went ahead and made two different colors, purple as you see here, and I also made a yellow for the stars. So when I started this series, I had a little bucket list on different things that I wanted to try doing, stuff that I've never done before. One of those was icing work. And let me tell you, that was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I'm chronically ill and I was in a lot of pain after this. So back to the circles. We are making some little jam sandwiches. These are commonly made with sugar cookies. I have made them before. They're typically dusted in powdered sugar, but today we used the extra icing to decorate them. I went ahead and did a abstract, very silly, kind of wizardy, whimsical design with them. I just went nuts. I decided to fill these with apricot preserves, partly because that is one of my sister's favorites. Also, the orange looks really well against the purple and the yellow, and I just kind of needed to get rid of it. As I joked about earlier, the icing was hard to work with. It's something that I would be able to get better at over time, but today it didn't totally work out in my favor. The general idea is to make a border around your cookie, let it set slightly, and then fill it in. Then shake it real good or use a toothpick to get rid of any imperfections. The main issue I had was I did not take the borders very seriously. They got put on very sloppy. I should have been very careful around the pixelated top of the mushroom, but I was not. Although they weren't as neat as I would have hoped, they still did taste very good, and I am proud of myself for trying out icing for the first time. Also, the stars are very funky, but I don't know how the you're supposed to make a star without doing the actual line thing, but I couldn't do that because then I was going to cut into the sugar cookie. They kind of look like if you asked a 6-year-old to try to draw Patrick's star from memory, but it gives them personality, so I don't mind the way they look too much. Some of the stars got some gold flakes, but for the mushrooms, I used different size variations of white and pink sprinkles, and it kind of mimicked those little pixels you see on them. I had one cookie the day I made them, and then I had another one after they had been sitting in the Tupperware container overnight, and they kind of tasted even better after they like marinated. I don't know how else to explain that. Well, here's the whole gang. I would hope that the wizard would like these. I think he's such a cool character. I just don't know a lot about him. He probably typically uses them purple mushrooms for spells rather than actually eating them, but this time I really did not have a lot to work with. I am very nervous about Gunther. Here are some photos that I took for my Instagram about how they turned out officially. Thank you so much for watching part 3 of my series, The Wizard's Lemon Purple Mushroom Cookies. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that crap, and I will see you again sometime soon.